Hi, I'm Jonathan. It's been a while since we've posted, but we have been keeping track of everyone's comments. A lot of comments were asking us how things have grown after we did something to them in our previous videos. So in this video, we're going to take some time to run through some of the things that we've done and how that's turned out over time. Welcome to the Anole Garden. We're going to start right here with this Tabebuia tree. We butchered this thing last year. You can see right here is the main cut. Everything above this was cut off last year. You can see all the growth up above it, how quickly this thing has recovered and pretty much grown back almost to where it was. You can see the seed pods. It's already been through flowering. It's put out a ton of seeds. It's a nice bright green, happy color. The plant did fine. We're probably going to butcher it again this year to cut it back down to where it was. And this is our Navel Orange tree. We cut out quite a bit of this last year. As you can see, it's already filled in a lot of it. We still have the classic greening and some other symptoms, but this plant had a lot of recovering to do. So it doesn't surprise me that it's still not perfect. And it may never be, but it did give us a fair amount of good oranges this year. We had a good freeze that set the sugars into the oranges quite nicely. And you can see that it had a ton of blossoms and it's already got some new oranges forming. So all in all, it's a pretty healthy tree. We probably need to repaint the trunk and we definitely need to thin it out. We also had a video on the Vitex Chaste tree. This is one of them. As you can see, it's got a nice good color to it. It's about to bloom, so it's not covered in bees yet, but it will be really soon. This is the good one. Let's go show you the other one. This is the Vitex Chaste tree that didn't make it. You may not be able to see on the camera, but there's a very big crack down here at the bottom of this main trunk. I'll show you the backside in just a second. It is loaded with cracks. This basically split wide open all the way down. So that's what killed this tree. It basically just started turning brown and never came back. We think that this one actually froze. We had a couple of really cold nights and we generally don't protect things here. And this is one of the coldest spots in our garden. So we think this froze, split the wood. Once you split the trunk, the tree's dead. So this is gonna come out eventually. But while I'm here, we also have our Bougainvillea. This is the one that we split 3 different ways. This is one in a pot. We've got another one on the back wall that's growing over the wall, and it looks just as nice as this one. So is it healthy to move a Bougainvillea? Probably not, but it can be done. And this one's perfectly fine. And this is one of the Cassias that Daisy pruned. We did a winter pruning on this where she did what she normally does, which means a lot. And then she recently went through and cleaned up some of the spring stuff, but you can see it's filled in nicely. It's got a good color to it. And we've seen plenty of wasps on this, so they're keeping it healthy and happy. And you can see behind me another Cassia tree by our pool cage that she did pretty much the same treatment to, and it's doing fine as well. And this is the Loquat tree that we relocated. As you can see, it's got good color. It's grown quite a bit more. It's got tons more leaves on it than it did, and it's looking pretty healthy. It's got a few yellow leaves on the interior, but that's not uncommon for a Loquat. Other than that, it's perfectly fine. Shows really good how you can move a tree if you do it carefully. This is our Dwarf Mulberry tree. You can see this thing is loaded with fruit, and we've only had it for 1.5 years. It's way taller than me. It's out of the frame. I'm going to show you this side because this is the side where most of the foliage is, but then we're going to go around the back and we'll show you how much fruit this thing has. It's crazy. So this is kind of our daily ritual for the mulberry, is we just come out here, and if we find a blackberry and it comes off super easily, like literally falls off when you touch it, then it is ready. And we just come out here and start picking them and eating them. And we do almost no work for this tree at all. It's amazing. And the fruit, when they're ripe, are really good. It's like the cross between a blueberry and a blackberry, without the pits or grit that blackberries have. So if you've got room for one of these and you don't have one yet, get one. This is by far one of our most productive trees, and it's fantastic. Just don't put it over concrete because it does drop a lot of these and they do stain. Speaking of blackberries, these are 4 of the blackberries we planted a little bit before the mulberries, I think. And then this last one we found at a hardware store and planted it like 6 months after all the others. It was out of season, but it did okay. So this is our blackberry mess. I'm gonna clean this up. It was trellised. We had some storms rip through. Blackberries are really tough. They actually tore down all the strings instead of the strings holding them up. So now they're kind of going everywhere, and they need training, they need support, and I have to get them off the ground, otherwise they will root where they land on the ground. And we don't want that because then they go everywhere. And that's how you get a bramble patch. We have lots of fruit showing. I could have had more if I'd trained them better. I don't mind that on the first year. I like plants to kind of do what they want to do and get healthy, and then the following years I can train them. So this year we'll go through how to trim them, how to clean them up, how to get the most production out of them. But the next thing we're going to do, and it may be our very next video, is building a real trellis for these guys and keeping them contained. And here we have our apple trees. We got these the same time as the blackberries, and I just checked. These are actually January 2021 is when we put them in the ground. They all came in as bare root sticks. So it was like literally right here was the top. I can see the end cut, and I don't think it had any leaves on it when we got it. It was just a bare stick and roots. So these are just over 1 year old, and this one has 18 apples on it already. Our Dorset Gold has 6 apples on it already. I'm not going to let this one get any more apples on it. I may actually pull some off because that's a bit much for a plant this size. And we also had to prop this one up, not because there was any problem with the tree, but because we have moles, and the moles dig under here to get over to other parts of our yard. So they were just disturbing the earth enough that if we got a really good storm, this kind of started to lean. So I'm just straightening it up. That should solidify again once the moles leave it alone, and we're gonna deal with those separately. But those are our apple trees. Oh, and if you're wondering why we have blue buckets down here, I have a really short video on how we use buckets to water our trees once a week. It's a really good way of doing that if you don't have a sprinkler right where your trees need the water yet. And we haven't run a line here yet for these trees specifically, so we do bucket watering on these. I'll put a link in one of these corners for that video. It's really short. So that's a quick look at some of the things in our garden. Shows you that no matter what you do, as long as you take care of your plants, they'll continue to thrive and grow, and you're welcome to shape them the way that you need them to be. So next time we're either going to go set up our blackberry trellis or talk to you about some tricks that we're going to try with cucumbers. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us at the Anole Garden. Just stop.